when I walk through a jam. No one knows who I am. Put your head on my chest, and I'm Mr. Success.
Good morning. You are listening to the Inevitable Radio Show and Mr. Success. Old Blue Eyes. Love that song. I hope you are creating great success in your life. You're listening to the Inevitable Radio Show. I'm your host, William Sumner, and it is the Inevitable Radio Show because you are inevitable. Who you are, why you are, how you came here to be. Everything that's happening is connected, has purpose, has relevance, and has flexibility, has creativity, has changeability. You can be more, do more, have more, or you can stay where you are. It's not about judgments. It's not about criticism. It's not about even necessarily right and wrong, although there are some things on this planet that have justice and righteousness attached to them. It's about our journeys. It's about who we are. It's about what we're doing here as an individual, as a species, as a company, as a family. Why are you here? What are you here to do? I've always talked to you guys, whatever it is that I'm teaching, however you choose to apply it, it's not about perfection. It's about your journey. It's about learning. It's about growing. So we're going to talk a lot about learning and growth this morning. And we're going to talk about the number of tools that can impact that. What an amazing day. Now, juxtapositioned with this is the fact that I constantly talk about this message of greatness, this message of hope, this message of optimism. Occasionally, I will get a caller that has the very opposite side of the viewpoint, has the opposite side of a message. And he brings a smile to my face every time I hear it, and I send him a lot of great gratitude that he called, and he left me this voicemail.
I listened to this guy on the radio. I didn't have time to call in because I really wanted to tell him personally, well, how much LSD does this guy eat every day when he goes on there? It makes me want to puke. His trippy, hippie, pie in the sky, wonderful life, you can do this, you can do that. Bull crap. Just makes me sick to my stomach.
What is your life? How is your life going? What are your challenges? What are your greatnesses? It's an incredible journey we're on. This is a great spaceship we're on. This big mud ball's moving 8,000 miles a second. And the time it took me to make that sentence, we've moved about 40,000 miles through space. And you thought you were just hanging out and not doing much today. And actually, you're moving about 8,000 miles a second as you listen to the Inevitable Radio Show. This is a tool-based show. This is a show that's designed not to just philosophize or not to just talk about things. I want you to change. I want you to get more of what you want. And how you do that is a recipe or tools-based approach to life. Most people believe that reality's happening to them and they're doing the best they can. And if they're doing okay, that's great. If they're doing great, a lot of people are worried about the other shoe's going to fall, and they're anticipating their bad luck to arrive and their good luck to change, or they're just suffering. Or you could even be a superstar. I have those too. It's a tool. It's a recipe. It's a strategy, and that's what we talk about here. Now, one of the tools I want to talk a little bit about is a quantum tool that I work with. Quantum is a scientific word, and really, in essence, it's capturing the binary nature of this world. As a philosophical word, you might say yin or yang, or as a traditional word, you might say glass half full, glass half empty. Quantum is a word that I like to use because it encaptures all of those words and even more, because the nature of your day, the nature of things that are happening to you, there is always a quantum nature. So when you're in the middle of a disaster, when you're in the middle of a challenge, you've been fired from your job, you've lost your house, oftentimes many people can come back and go, in the midst of that disaster, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. That's the worst thing that ever happened to me. And then in the same breath, they can go, and you know what? It's the best thing that ever happened to me. Because of that, I met my spouse. Because of that, I got a new job. Because of that, I moved to another part of the town or another part of the country, and my new life took off. And it never would have happened the way it did were it not for the disaster. So even if you're in the middle of a disaster or an abyss right now, I call it the abyss, living in the abyss, soaring over the abyss, even if you're in the middle of pain right now, you can time travel 1 year, 5 years in the future, because you already are good at time traveling. You don't know that because you haven't been taught that, but you time travel to the past quite readily. You will revisit an argument. You will revisit a failure. You will revisit a problem, and you will watch that movie over and over again, seeing yourself fail, seeing the pain happen, occasionally throwing in, well, I would have said this or I should have done that. But generally, it's a grand exercise in beating the crap out of yourself by watching this crappy movie over and over again. And when you're stuck in that time travel zone, it's very hard to look to the future and say, wow, I'm going to be great. Wow, I'm going to create greatness out of this. Wow, what an incredible gift this disaster was for me. Most people have to arrive there through the course of time. They have to wait a year until they finally feel better just by the natural process of time. And we even have an expression for that. Time heals all wounds. Time heals all pain. No, time does not. We heal. Can we accelerate that healing? Absolutely. How do you do that? The same way you're doing it today. So you're time traveling to the past today. You're time traveling to another place and watching a movie of your performance. It's just not helping you. Time travel to your future. Time travel to the place that you're already healed. You have enough strategies. You know enough truths about how to do that, because you can go back to the worst problem you've ever had, whether it was 1 year or 5 years or 15 years back. I gradually forgave the problem. I gradually stopped thinking angry thoughts. I gradually looked at the good that came out of it, and I spent more time watching that movie. Go into the future. Time travel as far into the future as you want. Oh, how about time traveling to today? How about this afternoon? How about when you go on that sales call this afternoon, instead of plugging in a movie that says the economy is bad and my company is in terrible danger and I can't win any business, instead of plugging that movie in and time traveling to the past or time traveling to the future because you're projecting this terrible past, time travel to this afternoon and see an incredible movie. See yourself as Captain James Tiberius Kirk on your starship, Starship Sumner, Starship Smith, Starship Doe, and be the captain and be the hero and win the day and save the damsel and defeat the dragon. You can do that. And when you do that, guess what happens this afternoon? Do you win every time? No. Do you slay every dragon? No. But here's what we know from all success-based psychology. Not only do you have a greater chance, the likelihood and probability that you will win this afternoon is greatly elevated. And the probability that you're going to win this afternoon when you're playing an old crappy movie where you cannot win and you cannot have greatness is very, very low. It's really hard to win when you go into a staff meeting, a client scenario, visiting a bank to capitalize your small business, when you're playing a movie that they're just going to say no. They're just not going to, it's just a terrible time. The movie is playing, watch the economy, the SSS economy sink. Watch my SSS 401k sink. And that's the movie many of you play. Change the movie. Do what you know how to do best. Time travel.
Thank you for listening to the Inevitable Podcast. Please visit our website for more information on this extraordinary coaching system at www.theinevitableyou.com. Then, sign up for your 2-week free trial of our membership to gain access to hundreds of hours of amazing content and tools just like this. Now, back to Bill.
Don't go visit the past and play a totally crappy movie again. Time travel to your future. Play a great movie, and the future can be today. The future could be tomorrow. The future could be your end of quarter, end of semester finals, and you see yourself answering every question, smiling broadly because your studies went well, feeling awesome. You're prepared. You're ready. You know the material. And when you give your conscious and unconscious mind and psychology those types of imagery to watch, and put it on a big screen and make it in living color and turn the sound up. You remember when you go on a movie and that THX sound, that and the whole theater is vibrating? Put that sound of success in your sales call this afternoon. And it opens your mind. It energizes neural networks. It lights up resources that you have already today to play. Versus watching this movie and instead of in living color, big screen, big sound, but it's the customer laughing at you. It's the customer saying no. It's feeling awkward as you make your presentation. Feeling awkward and wondering what terrible thing is going to happen to you that day. And you play that movie over and over again. This process where we play movies and we experience the movie is called association and disassociation. When you associate to the movie that's playing in your mind, you see it, hear it, feel it, know it, and big adjectives, big color, big screen, big sound, big kinesthetic internalization of the movie. Now, if it's a crappy movie you're watching, it'll feel really crappy. If it's an incredible, great movie that you're watching, it'll feel incredibly great. What we do in the society, many of us, is we watch crappy movies and make them great, which means they have really crappy endings for us. And occasionally, when we do watch a good movie, it's not a great movie. And the reason why it's not a great movie is we turn the volume down. We make take it off the big movie screen and put it in a TV. We make it black and white. And we don't feel great. We're dissociated from feeling great. And you've heard me joke before. Oh, Bill, how was your week? Well, I did win the Nobel Prize, but, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that big of a deal. Anybody could win the Nobel Prize. I was kind of lucky. I didn't do that much. We will take our greatest movies and we will diminish them. We will dim them. We will take them down. We will not vibrate. We will not feel them. As opposed to feeling that customer shake our hands, feeling that client call, feeling the bank shaking your hand and saying, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. We're excited to do business with you. We believe in your business plan. We see the bank saying no. And we feel it. Associate to what you want. Write that down. Associate to what you want. Dissociate from what you don't want. Big words, but it's a simple concept, and you already do it well. You're just doing it in reverse. So I want you to write down, associate to what I don't want, and put a big red line through it. Put a big X, scribble and scritch all over the top of that. Say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to associate to what I don't want. I'm going to associate to what I want. And then put dissociate from what I want and scritch and scribble all over that. You're going to dissociate from what you don't want. So if you want to make a little tool for yourself on a piece of paper, draw a little 4-paned window. It's got 4 quadrants to it. And you've got associate and dissociate, and you got want and don't want. There's only one window pane that you want to live in as much as you can, and that's associate to what I want. Now, the fact of the matter is, there are headwinds, there are crap storms that blow up, there are challenges in the planet. Don't associate to them. Dissociate from them. You're still going to deal with the problem. You still got to write emails, you still got to make phone calls, you still got to deal with upset people. But there's no law that says you have to be upset. There's no law that says you need to be in a negative place. There's no anything that's making you do anything. And so step 1 of creating greatness for yourself is dissociate from what it is that you don't want. Deal with the problem. It'll have minimal impact to you. And the greatest half of this, if you really want to be a superstar, if you want to be in the top 1% of your sales forces, if you want to be in the top 1% of small business, medium business, you want to be top 1% of whatever trade craft you have, everybody has problems. Everyone has challenges. That's where life forces growth. We want growth. We just often want the growth that we want. We're not always so sure we want the growth we don't want. But trust me, if it's happening to you, somewhere in there you want it. But in this space, you can dissociate to solving it, and then what the superstars do is they associate to the solution, which is what they want. The problem is the problem is the problem. That's always going to happen. But when you associate to and see in color the client being happy, going, "Oh, Bill, you're the man. Thank you. Oh, Susie, you're awesome. Thank you for solving this problem. I thought this was going to be a disaster. And you fixed it for me. You made it work for me. Thank you." Sometimes the worst challenges are what create the tightest client relationships. Sometimes your team weathering the worst storm makes for a legendary team, esprit de corps, and a legendary attitude and a legendary time that for years you guys will be talking about. Oh, yeah, I was here back in 2009 when the economy was upside down, and man, there was days we didn't know we were going to make it, but we're playing the movie that we did, and we're feeling great. So the next big abyss, the next big hole that hits you, you're fine. You can survive it. You can travel it, because you're going to time travel today to this afternoon. You're going to time travel today to this week, and you're going to create an incredible masterpiece movie to watch where you win, and you win big, where you say incredible things, you think incredible thoughts, you solve incredible problems, and you get to celebrate in living color, full level 10 emotions, the fact that you win. Do not dissociate from your successes and then talk to your friends or your colleagues and associate to the problems and pains and challenges that are going on. That'll make you average. That'll create pain for you. And it certainly teaches your children a very crappy way to approach life. They need to see you do this so they can learn it. You can't say, "Hey, listen to Sumner on the radio. There's this great show on how to associate as a teenager in high school to great victory." They're living movies at a level 10 right now with their peers that are off the charts. What movies are your kids watching? Are they great movies? Do they have incredible endings? Or are they following your pattern and seeing anxiety and fear and stress and not fitting in? Instead of seeing themselves as leaders, they see themselves as not fitting in, and they're trying so hard to conform so that they can lessen their pain. That is not greatness. You've got to be great. Associate to great. Associate to what you want. Feel it, hear it, see it, know it, believe in it, Play that movie over and over again. You're great at playing movies. You're great at time traveling. You're just doing it in the wrong direction. Change the direction. Everything else remains the same, and I promise you, your life will take off and accelerate in ways you cannot imagine when you change the movies that you're playing.
Thank you for listening to the Inevitable Podcast. Please visit our website for more information on this extraordinary coaching system at www.theinevitableyou.com. Then, sign up for your 2-week free trial of our membership to gain access to hundreds of hours of amazing content and tools just like this.